Tom shares his inspirational story of how his tiny bakery that used to just to employ 2 part-time staff, and with a turnover of $100,000, I'd say that's per annum, turned into a 6th destination bakery across Victoria with 260 full-time staff and 14 million turnover per annum, serving well over 1 million customers a year. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to Tom, please? Thank you, Tom.
I am a baker. Give us that mic. Give us, I am a baker. I'm going to put my hat on because it makes me look younger. Look, that's my comfort zone, in a bakehouse. That's where I do my best work. In a bakery, not talking to a group of buggers like you. Look, I am no big-time businessman, I'm no guru. In fact, I'm a kindergarten dropout. I failed kindergarten, these buggers got me along to make them look good. Look, if I upset anybody today, if I'm politically incorrect, or I happen to swear, look, I apologise, I'm sorry. Pray for me, don't sit there getting bloody resentful, pray for me. Look, that's my comfort zone, in a bakehouse, that's where I do my best work. Look, I was not always a grey-haired old bugger. That's me there, on that side. I was not always, I turned 21 in Armandland. But anyway, look, I have a front door, I am in business, and it's far from perfect. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about tourist information centre. No, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to talk about customer service. I'm going to talk about customer service. And I'm going to talk about keep in touch with your dreams. Now, I had a dream. I wanted to be rich. Now look, I was brought up in poverty. Anyone who'll tell you that it's spiritual, living in poverty, it's bullshit. There's nothing spiritual about living in poverty. Much more spiritual than employed people put food on the table. Anyway, I started school and I met my first dream taker. They told me it was a sin to be rich. Today it's a miracle, but I believe in miracles. I rely on what I did. I did fail kindergarten. I hung around in primary school until I got too big for the desk. And they had to send me to high school. Now my younger brother, he'd already gone to high school. Isn't that pretty embarrassing? Isn't it? My younger brother, I got to high school and they said to me, Tom, what can you do? I said, I can daydream. I got A's in daydreaming. They didn't put on my report and I never got a report. But anyway, when I left school at 14, I didn't know the ABC or times table. I still do not know the ABC or times table today. But you know, I thought I met a lot of dream takers at school, but I went into my first business, a bakery, when I was 21 in Yarrawonga in Victoria, after I'd finished up in Armandland teaching the tribal Aboriginals to bake bread. I went into my first business at 21 and I started to meet a lot of real dream takers, like bank managers and accountants, probably a couple of them buggers here. You know, a lot of my mates said, who do you think you are? Going into business. You're up yourself. There's heaps of dream takers out there who'll tell you it can't be done. And sometimes we're married to them too. You know, don't let anyone steal your day. Don't let anyone steal your day. Keep in touch with your dreams. Beechworth, where the bloody hell's Beechworth? Beechworth's on a road to nowhere. If you're going to Beechworth, you're going out of your way. 3 hours from Melbourne, up the Albury-Wodonga, population around 3,000 people, and we are credited with having the highest sales finished standalone retail bakery in Australia. There is a couple others doing better, but the taxation department doesn't know about it. But Beechworth was very famous for its lunatic asylum, and Ned Kelly and the jail, and they're all bloody gone today. You know, when I went there 29 years ago, you didn't say, oh, I'm going for a drive to Beechworth, because if you were, you're going to visit your mad auntie or somebody else locked up there. It was a government town, it was an institution town, and it was dying. Look at you poor buggers sitting down there. There's a couple of empty seats down the front here, 3 of them, and if you don't want to sit in the sun there. That was my shop 29 years ago. That's the state of most of the shops in Beechworth 29 years ago. When I went there, the bank manager said, Tom, you're bloody mad, this town's dying, we're going, and the bank went. And my accountant come over from Perth, I'd been in business over there in a bakery, and he was horrified. He was horrified. He said, Tom, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're overcapitalising in a town that's dying, you're bloody mad. Today they think I'm a guru, but 29 years ago they thought I was a nutcase. You know, when I bought the place, it employed 2 part-time people, neither of them on the books. Today, about 70 full and part-time. But yeah, when I bought it, it was falling down, it was mouse infested, it was rat infested, it even had this friendly possum that lived in the bakehouse. Now we get this bloody possum and we take it out in the bush. And 2 days later, you'd walk in and this possum would be sitting on the bench eating all the parsley vegetables. We couldn't get rid of the possum until the Chinese restaurant opened up down the road. That was the end of the bloody possum. Yeah, truly, we don't have any stray cats, dogs, nothing around the bloody place. You know, 29 years ago when I went there, if you seen a car parked on the street on Sunday morning, you wondered who got locked up. You know, Today you're lucky to get a park there today. Today it's a very vibrant tourist town, and the Beechworth Bakery and Tom O'Toole gets a lot of the credit, but we were just there at the right time. But today we have 6 Beechworth bakeries. We have a Beechworth bakery in Bendigo. People said, how can you have a Beechworth bakery in Bendigo? Well, we've got a Bendigo bank in Beechworth. Adios. A Beechworth Bakery in Echuca, a Beechworth Bakery in Hillsville, a Beechworth Bakery in Ballarat, a Beechworth Bakery in the Myers Centre in Albury. You know, when I bought that business 29 years ago, it was turning over 100,000 turnover. This last year, in excess of 15 million cash over the counter. I like cash, you know, but you know, and our product's very middle of the road. We are not gourmet. We call a couple of things gourmet. We can charge a little bit more for them, but we don't have any secret herbs and spices. It's our people. It's our people that make the difference. It's our people and our service and our brand and 10,000 other bloody things. You know, every week we have business people checking out our business to see what people are desperate to give us money. This crowd from South Africa. And they said to me, Tom, how come these buggers are desperate to give you money? What do you do? What do you do? I said, well, we do a lot of training. They said, but what if you train them and they leave? And I said, what if you don't train them and they stay? And that's what lots of us do in small business. We don't train them and the buggers stay. And they say, oh yeah, it's all right for you, Tom, you've got the time, you've got the money. It's not lack of time, it's not lack of money. It is lack of focus. It is lack of priority. You know, what you think about expands. You're thinking lack of time, lack of money, lack of opportunity. That's what you're going to get. What you think about expand. So be careful what you think about. You know, SHIT, simply how I think. You've got to think positive and work harder and work smarter. SHIT, simply how I think. You've got to think positive. You've got to think positive. You've got to talk it up. You've got to talk it up. But you buggers like to keep it all to yourself over here in South Australia. I've had many holidays over here. You all don't want to tell anyone about it. But, I talk about every disaster, there's a bloody beauty there, but when my wife left it, I've left that story out. But anyway, and talk about, it's a good story, but I didn't know there were so many women here. You would have loved, anyway, I should tell you this story. It's not there, the photo, but talk about in every disaster. In June 29 years ago, you know, June, a few months after March, 29 years ago, my wife left me and left me with the kids. And when my wife left me, I fell madly in love with her. You know, we often do some of our staff sometimes, geez, they weren't that bad after all. Here I was, age 32, the arse out of my brains, wanting to die. I felt a failure. I didn't think I had any to live for, and I had 2 beautiful daughters. My wife had left the kids. She ran off with this big Fijian. I had no bloody hope. And I had an attempt on my life. I ended up sticking a load of gun in my mouth, and they very cold and oily. Anyway, I was lowered in the footprint. I didn't think I had to live for it. I had these 2 little beautiful daughters, and somebody said, Tom, you're going to have to grow up. These kids need you. So I went across to see Graham Bailey, the solicitor across the road from the bakery. I said, Graham, I need help. And he rang up the lunatic asylum. I said, no, you don't understand. She's got the credit cards. But I wasn't going up the asylum because I had that song out, they're coming to take you away, ha ha, they're coming to... So he got me to a counsellor with Lifeline in Albury Wodonga. I tell you what, if you're ever suicidal, don't ring up Lifeline. The buggers won't get off the phone. Anyway, I got down to see this counsellor, Jenny Willis. After I got off the phone, they made me promise I'd go down to see, and I went down to see Jenny Willis. And she said to this counsellor, she said to me, Tom, where have you been, how long you been there, and where you going? I said, I'm going bloody mad, I'm going mad, you silly bloody woman, I'm going mad, that's why I'm seeing you. She said, where do you want to be then? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Shit, I didn't know where I wanted to be in 5 years' time. I was too busy doing it. I didn't have a bloody clue where I wanted to be in 5 years' time. She said to me, Tom, you've got to get honest with yourself. I said, I'll go broke. She said, no, you've got to get honest with yourself. Didn't know what bloody meant. Here I was at age 32. I had to do the biggest investment of my life. I had to start investing in me. I had to go to seminars. I had to learn to read books. I had to learn to talk to people. I had to learn to work on my business as well as in my business. I had to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce. I had to get dogged. I had to work on. This counsellor, Jenny, said to me, Tom, when do you find it most difficult? I said, at 6 o'clock. She said, what are you doing at 6 o'clock? I said, I'm normally trying to get me kids their dinner, and I'm trying to watch the news, and the kids make noise, and I get so angry, so upset. She said, well, stop watching the news then. Bull, I had to watch the news. She said, Tom, stop watching the news. So I stopped watching the news 29 years ago. If I happen to see the news today, it's the same bloody news I was watching 29 years ago. It's the same rape, wars, murders, crashes, smashes, El Nemo, petrol prices, interest rate, all this doom and gloom. You know, somebody come into your lounge room and crapped on your lounge room floor, you'd either ring the police or you belt them. Yet here we are, let the idiot box full of lounge room full of the shit. You know, you become what you study. You become what you study. Study happiness, study wealth, study success. Don't study doom and gloom and lack of. In every disaster lies an opportunity. That was the biggest disaster of my life. My wife leaving me. Also, it was the best thing that ever happened. I didn't think so at the time, I can tell you. But it was the best thing that ever happened. I ended up getting a newer model. You know, talk about every disaster. In the late 90s, the government announced they were closing the lunatic asylum in Beechworth. Well, it was called Mayday Hills Hospital, but you didn't go there for ingrown toenails, I can tell you. And they shut the asylum, and we lost hundreds of jobs in Beechworth, so we got into tourism in a big way. And this festival, the first festival we had here about 16 years ago, 16 years ago, we had 1,500 people. Last year at that same festival, we had thousands of the buggers, thousands. You had heard the same comments, or some of the shopkeepers, the same comments last year I did the year before, nearly word for word. Oh, the buggers don't spend any money in my shop. All they do is make a bloody mess, taking me car spaces, blocking me driveway. I'm sure God looks at them and says, here, give yourself something else to bitch about, you buggers. They love it, they wallow in. Honestly, it's so easy to be negative. Requires no bloody effort at all, but to be positive, you've got to get off your bum and have a go. I hear people saying, but Tom, it's hard, it's hard. You reckon it's hard? Go to Bangladesh, go to Bosnia, go to East Timor. I was over in East Timor last year. You know, I spent 10 days in a convent. Nearly got in a couple of bad habits. But anyway, you know, people said, it's hard, it's hard. Look, I tell you what, I don't see boatloads of people leaving Australia heading to Bolivia. It's landlocked anyway, Bolivia. But anyway, people say to me, oh, Tom, you don't understand. Tom, you don't understand. I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad day. You reckon you're having a bad day? Try and missing one. You're dead. Bloody oath, any day above ground's a good one. You know, be grateful you woke up this morning. A lot of buggers didn't. You know, have an attitude of gratitude. Have an attitude. If I'm grateful, I have energy, I'm excited. If I'm ungrateful, I'm pissed off, shitty, cranky, no energy. Have an attitude of gratitude. Yeah, I was asked to go over there 4 years ago, over to East Timor to set up a bakery. I'm over there next month, actually, in June, and my wife's coming. She's going to cramp me style. She hadn't been, yeah, but anyway, I'm staying at the convent again. And anyway, and I got my two mates, Graham Heaven from Napier. Graham had never heard of East Timor. Down in New Zealand, they didn't realise it was so close. And Ralph there, and we got him over there. I said, come over, and they said, oh, there's too many guns. And anyway, they come over, we were going. It was all too hard. It was all too hard. The official language is Portuguese, and it was all too hard. No one wants to speak Portuguese, and anyway, we were going. And somebody said the nuns have got some great. They got bakery equipment up in boxes. They were still in crates. We went up there, and oh, you know, Graham got all excited and started pulling the bloody around. And the Spanish government had given them all this bakery equipment. And you wouldn't get any for the Spanish government now. They are broke. They're broke. But anyway, Graham Heaven, there he is. The nuns have never been so close to heaven in their life. They love Graham Heaven. Now, I'm the only bad Catholic amongst them. They got no idea. But anyway, we ended up setting up this bakery, and when we left not last year, the year before, they were doing 150 bread rolls a day. Went back last year, doing in excess of 2,000 bread rolls a day. They've opened up this bakery shop out front of the convent, and it's supporting 2 little orphanages, but training lots of young people. Now, Amelia there, she's going to be a nun, and Amelia was, but she got a boyfriend now. And we brought him out to Beechworth, our bakery, last year. This guy is named Alan Small. Alan Small. Alan Small. Good, look at that. God almighty. Alan, fair dinkum. You get him in the front of your car. There's not Alan Small. I'll tell you what. And you know, there's no dole. These people were keen to look. They're wonderful. I'm looking, it's going to be great. They stayed at home for 3 weeks. But last April, I was asked to set up a bakery in Uganda. Now, look, I am no saint, so don't ask me. I am no saint, I can tell you, but pray for me. There's hope for me yet. And I was asked to set up a bakery in Uganda. 8 hours out of Kampala. Kampala. This is in Kampala. This is a good part of Uganda. Anyway, no power and everything out where I was. Somebody, there was an oven there at this old hospital. Well, it wasn't that old a hospital. It was built in the 50s, early 50s. And they reckon to make a good bakery. Anyway, I got Graham and Ralph. Graham and Ralph, both of them weren't coming because there was guns over there. We ended up actually got bailed up 3 times with guns. But anyway, don't worry about that. And we ended up, though, producing good bread. This is April last year. And it is, these 4 ladies were so keen to learn, so keen to learn. And everyone's got the trouble is over there's no money to buy the bread, but anyway. But it is supporting 2 orphanages. There's 80 kids in this orphanage, 80 kids, and that's a whole kitchen that feeds the whole 80. They live in this orphanage, and she's a volunteer, that lady, and there's lots of people work there, and that cooks for everybody. And we think we got it bloody tough. We think we got it tough. Anyway, enough of that. Back to the Beechworth Bakery. Today, my business today runs on a management structure instead of a dictatorship. Now, dictatorship made me a lot of money. I love dictatorships. I know they're in a bit of trouble at the moment, but they'll have these business meetings. They don't often tell me when they're having them, and I'll come in and I'll say, what are these figures about? Look at all this. What's this? What? Tom, you don't understand, Tom. You're thick as a brick, Tom. You're thick as 2 bricks. You don't understand, Tom. Tom, the council, it's been building a roundabout. We have a roundabout in Beechworth, one round, you know, them roundabout. Anyway, we have a roundabout in Beechworth, and the road's been blocked, Tom, for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Supermarket selling bread, Tom, for $1 a loaf. $1 a loaf, Tom. It's too hot, Tom. It's too hot for cream cakes. It's too hot for pies. It's too hot, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Anytime I got problems in my business, it's always within my 4 walls. But it's so easy to look out there and blame the council, blame the government, blame the supermarket, blame head office, blame Julia. Anytime I got problems in my business, it's always within my... I tell you what, if I ever want to find the biggest problem in my business, all I got to do is look in the mirror and I'll find the biggest problem that I'm ever going to have to work with staring me in the face. Much easier to look out there and blame some other bugger though. I think that behind every successful man, there's a surprise mother-in-law. A couple of years later, I got another hostage. Happily married today, one day at a time. Yesterday wasn't one of them, but my wife's my biggest asset. Also my biggest liability. That's the biggest business risk you'll ever bloody see. Don't worry about the competition. Half your money, bloody oath. I always hold my wife's hand. If I let go, she goes shopping. I tell you what, this one nicking off, I'm going with her. I always call her my dearest because she's the most expensive thing I've got. I tell you what. Yes, but happily married, 27 years in August, 27. Anyway, my wife and I would travel a lot. We go into Las Vegas, then later we were in, this year, we've been to Vanuatu, Fiji and New Caledonia. We travel up, we've been to Perth, we're going to Vancouver later, Fiji, we're going to, she's coming to East Timor with me, so we travel a lot. But this trip here, we're travelling business class, we're travelling to Bangkok. We're travelling Bangkok, we're travelling business class, and the kids are down the back where they belong. And when you travel business class going overseas, they give you a drink of champagne or orange juice or water before you even go to the tarmac, before you even get off the tarmac. And that's about the only time my wife smiled. Now my wife's very placid, very quiet, never complains, but it was a trip from hell. She was not happy, and I had to sit with her for the next 8 or 10 hours, and it was not much fun. And she said to me, Tom, I'm never travelling on this airline ever again. Went out to see the kids down the back. And they said, what are you talking about, bad service? You couldn't wish for better service. You guys are up yourself. Here we are all on the same plane. They had a great air crew. We had a lousy one. It's all about people. It's all about people. Rule 1, take care of the customer. Rule 2, take care of the customer. Rule 3, take care of the customer. Just love them. And they might love you back. Go happy customers come back. How profound. I'm as thick as a brick, but happy customers. Give them a reason to come back. Give them a reason to come back. Give them, you're in the same bloody ground. Give them a reason. I tell you what, Iris there will give everyone, they all get confused. They said, shit, we've got to stay here longer. I only took this photo yesterday. But she's a volunteer. Iris will sell our town better than anyone. She is incredible. Give them a reason to come back. Oh, look at that, desperate to give me money, desperate to give me money. Bloody oath, I'm in business to make money. I'm not embarrassed about it. Money gives me choices. Money gives me options. I love the choice, I love the option. My business is totally cash, or we take credit card, but we don't do any wholesale. We don't supply to schools, hospitals, or no one. If anyone wants 20% discount, I want to cut out 20% of the ingredients. And it doesn't taste real bloody good either, but when you haven't got an education, you can get away. People say, no, Tom, money's not that important. You reckon money's not important? You try running your church. You try missing a couple of car payments. You try running the Girl Guide. I reckon it's up there with air and water. You reckon it's not important. You try, buddy. I tell you what, you try going. Everybody. But I tell you what, our business is far from perfect. Often you can't get to the counter. It's far. Oh, she nicked off. She couldn't handle it. All these buggers desperate to give you money. Desperate to give you money. Oh, look at this one. You-eyed Mary, I'll serve. I know the buggers play hide and seek. I know they do. I heard one of my staff say one day, you'd think they'd have something to eat before they come out. Look, human nature has never changed. All the customer wants you to do is look at me. Oh, bull, can't they see I'm busy? Piss off, let me play my smartphone, let me play my computer. Look, I believe business is so simple, most of us miss it. Don't get simple and easy mixed up. We get so tied up in spreadsheets and in flow charts and in data and statistics, and all the customer wants is, look at me, greet me, talk to me, thank me, thank. Why should I thank the buggers? Doesn't come natural to me either. Thank me, so bloody. Customer complaints are the school books from which we learn. I learned nothing at school. If they'd offered me Wealth 1 and Wealth 2, I would have taken both subjects. Probably would have failed then too, but something wide up here. I got these grandkids. I got two of them so dyslexic. They're never going to know the ABCs. I'm their hero. They think I'm bloody wonderful. Anyway, I stuck these customer comments into my shop. I was under the perception we were doing pretty good. We were doing $1.5 million cash over the counter in a little town of 3,000 people. At that time, if you were turning over $1 million in a retail bakery anywhere in Australia, pretty incredible business, we're turning over $1.5 million, thought we were doing pretty good, we stuck these in, and they stuck it in me. Now, though I've been told to don't handle criticism, but these buggers told me how to more than double my business. They told me to put in tables and chairs. No, the bloody bull, the buggers will sit there all day drinking bloody coffee, no money in tables and chairs. I can be as good as dream taker as anybody else. Anyway, at the goodness of my heart, I give them a couple of tables and chairs. And the customers kept writing in, one more table and chair, one, bloody, I'll give the buggers another one more. So I ended up having to take over the premises next door. And the customers kept writing in, one more table and chair, one, bloody hell. So I took over the next premises. That was it. I was limited. I couldn't grow anymore. So I thought. So I know today, the only thing that limits me today is just a little bit between the ears, and I hate using it because it's hard work. This is the only thing. I didn't think I could grow, and my customers, they told me how to grow my business. They told me to go upstairs. Now that's a setup, that one, they're all smiling. Now the dream takers told me nil value upstairs. Why will you get people upstairs, Tom, with all these empty shops? We had lots of empty shops in Beechworth. And I believe the dream takers. They were educated and seen they were talking about, but the customers kept writing in, need more room, need more. In the end, I got the buggers upstairs. I stuck the toilets upstairs. I got the buggers upstairs. And the Gooseberry Harley gave them 2 toilets, one lady, one female. And the customers kept writing in, one more toilets, one more. But bloody, I'll give the buggers on them more. We have these big staff meetings. And the staff were saying, Tom, they want more toilets. I said, bloody bull, I didn't know money in toilets. I said, geez, the amount of toilet paper them ladies use is ridiculous. So we tried them air blowers. You're going to work on them air blowers. We're going to do a little bit of work on them. But anyway, we write back to every one of our customer comments. We get hundreds of these. And now with social media, God, it's instant. You're sitting in there. Because I have a real business. People can walk in there and get a cold pie, bad service, and they say Tom O'Toole's full of bloody rubbish. So instantly you get it on that bloody social media. But we still, lots of people love, and we hand write back to every one of these. And we've been doing this for years. And we have tens of thousands of these bloody things. Don't know what we do with them, nothing. But anyway, right back, I used to do that, took this job off me. But it looks very different from where the customer's standing. Looks very bloody different. These are our customer comments. Now these ones are in the shop. Now if I'm getting a lot of bad customer comments, I'll stick them up there. And people think, shit, you put my name up there if I write a bad one. So it cuts the bad ones down dramatically, does? But we are very grateful. We are very grateful that these people have told us where we've fallen down, because they could just leave and we would never know why. We are very grateful. We write back and thank every one of them. You know, like, you've got to keep close to the customer. You've got to keep close to the customer. You know, you've got to keep listening to the customer. It, like I said, looks very different from where the customers do. Look at that 200 pies. I said, Zach, you're not doing 200 pies. You're doing one. I said, everyone's a customer. I'll come in and I said, would you like your mother to buy that one? And he'll say, no. And I said, well, bloody hell, then don't expect anyone else's mother to buy it then. All my staff are empowered. If they would not buy it themselves, they're not to sell it. I come in some days and they're chucking all this food in the bin. I think, gee, I'd sell it. I'd ice over the burnt bits. I'd cut them off. Geez, I've got to go home again. You know, I can only grow my business one pasty, one pie, one donut at a time. Everyone's a customer. If you wouldn't buy it, don't sell it. How bloody simple is this? How simple is this? Oh, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that they're all bloody cooking in here, Craig. They're all cooking in here. Look, he thinks it's winter. This is the boss here. Yeah, about that. He's been out there having a sleep. But anyway, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little bit extra. How often can we do that little bit extra and we don't bother? That return phone call, that smile, that thank you. It's the little things. It's the little things that make the big difference. Yet we're all looking for that big fix. It's like that magic wand. It's like the bloody racehorse that wins. It gets 10 times more the money. Is it 10 times faster, 50% faster, 25% faster? No, it's that tiny little. It's a little thing. The difference between ordinary. Who wants to be known as Mick Ordinary? It's that little bit extra, that little bit extra. I think a little bit extra. Beechworth is the home of Emma George. Up until the Sydney Olympics, the world's woman pole vaulting champion. 17 world records. I was there on the night of the Sydney Olympics when Emma didn't do that little bit extra. You just asked Emma, if you're not doing that little bit extra, your bloody history. Look at that, only when we continue to raise our goals, first you've got to have some goals and have them wrote down and dated. When I started writing down my goals and date them, changed my life. Dramatically changed my... You know, do we give ourselves room to grow? Keep lifting that bar. Keep lifting that bar. My wife says, why? Why not? Why not? Most success and failure in life is where we set that bar. Keep lifting that little bit extra, that little bit extra. It's a little thing. Oh, there's a little bit extra. We stick a band on the balcony every Sunday. Now, we never take under $10,000 cash over the counter on a Sunday. Now, we sell lamingtons and meat pies. Our average sales $7 or $8. Last Easter, not this Easter, the Easter before, because our figures we are battling to get growth in the last 12 months. But the last Easter, no, not this Easter, the Easter, but the last, we took $38,000 cash over the counter in one day. I was in Uganda, so I didn't have to do nothing. But it's that little bit extra, that value, that's in Beechworth. That little bit extra. Also, people think, shit, how do you get up there? So a little bit extra. I think a little bit extra, we keep sampling in the shop at least once a week. Now, you reckon I talk dribble? Keith leaves me for dead, leaves me for dead. I had people ringing me up and asking me, when is Keith sampling? Now, they don't want to come in and get a bit of bread, a bit of pastry. They want to come in and talk to Keith. I've been in business since I was 21. I know the greatest sickness in this world today is loneliness. My business is about people. You can buy coffee and cake anywhere. Why buy from my place? Because of these buggers. 5% technology, 95% psychology and attitude. Without them, I don't have a bloody show at all. Other people say, oh, my business is different. My business is about price. My business is about, quality and service is long remembered after the price is forgotten. Don't get tied up in bloody price. It's just another excuse you use and you slackers. Don't get tied up in... Oh, these are our staff meetings. These business people that check out my business, they say to me, Tom, how do you get your staff to come to a staff meeting? They say to me, Tom, even if I held a staff meeting in my staff's lounge room, they wouldn't turn up. Geez, what do? We give... Oh, geez, Craig, don't wreck the bloody place. Oh, they said, Tom, how do you get them there? And I said, well, what we do is put a sheet of paper up in the staff room, a blank bit of, this is your staff meeting. They write up all these issues that we didn't know issues, and we have a week or 10 days to work on all these issues, so we come to the meeting looking pretty good. Because I slip a couple of issues in that I want brought up, but I've got to write a different way so they don't realise it's me, like The manager's an imbecile, but it's their agenda. It's their agenda. You know, we all think it's about product. We all think it's about product. I tell you what, product is important. You haven't got a good product, shouldn't be in business. But my business is also about people. My business, everybody needs somebody. And I need the whole bloody 265 of the buggers, full and part-time. They're not all full. I need the whole bloody lot of them. You know, teamwork works. If you want it to work. You know, we're either pulling together or we're pulling apart. Front of house, head office, back office. You just think of every element of your show, pulling together as one. Wow. Nothing will stop you. You know, when we all work together, we all win together. So bloody simple, we miss it. So we're all in this thing together, so let's try and get along. Everyone in my business has to serve the customer. I'm out the back there getting the chook scraps. I live in Beechworth, but I'm redundant now. Now that the snow's on the roof, they reckon the fire's gone out. And I'm out the back there getting the chook scraps. And the girls are yelling out, we need a hand out the front. We got 2 buses, we got 3 buses. We need a hand, we need a hand. No, I'm here, my guys. I'm too busy. I got to bake this. I got this order to do. I got to weigh up this. It's not my job anyway. I said, you buggers, if we don't look after the customer, somebody else will. We're all there to serve the customer. That is the only business I have. I'm in business to serve the customer. I'm a servant. I'm a servant and I love it. I'm in business to serve the customer. But we forget, that's Doreen. She's a volunteer at the Tourist Info. She is incredible. Dora. For years and years and years, I don't know when to tell this story, for years we helped get this up and they kept the key at the bakery for the information centre. And every day we gave them morning tea. Now I was only up there yesterday and I only found out yesterday, we've been doing this morning tea, giving them morning tea for probably 15, 20 years ever since we've had our Tourist Information Centre. And last year it was cut out. The council wrote a letter to the Tourist Information Centre and told them that they were not to receive kickbacks from the vote. We were just bloody helping the poor buggers up there. We didn't give it. Anyway, maybe that's why I haven't got the sale. Yeah, I'm in business to serve the customer. Just the same as you buggers. Just in business. There's Lynn and Debbie there from Beechworth. Anyway, we'll hire, we do a lot of social stuff with our staff. We'll hire a bus, take our staff to the movies in Albury. We don't have a movie theatre in Beechworth. We'll hire a bus. Look, you can either wait for the future or you can get on the bus. And when you get on the bus, make sure everyone wants to go the same bloody way. You can either wait for the future or get on the bus. Get on the bus, get on the right bloody bus and get, But anyway, we'll hire a bus, take them 10-pin bowling, take them to the movie, take them paintball shooting. My staff love shooting each other, on the bigger nights, we get them to bring their partners along. And you know when you've been working with someone for quite a while and they bring their partner along and you think, shit, you're married to that. You know, next year, don't ask next year. But I tell you what, they're in charge of first impressions. You won't see me eye-eyed out the back. They're in charge of first impressions. They and their families are my best marketers. Without them, I don't have a bloody show at all. Like I said, I have 255 of the buggers, full and part-time. Most of them know the alphabet. They're in charge. If I want passionate, excited, motivated staff, it's got to come from the top. It's got to come from the top. You know, culture is caught. It's not taught. That's the Queen's birthday weekend. We have a lot of Queens and tarts work at our place. It's got to come from the top. Culture is caught. It's called, attitude. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. If I come to work having one of my pity parties, if I come to work with the shits, it just ripples right, and I love having pity parties. Oh, poor me, I got all the idiots. Poor me, I got all the bills. Poor me, I got all the headaches. Poor me, poor me. Pour me a drink. Attitude is a mind's paintbrush. It can colour any situation. If I'm having a pity party, I'm better off to stay at home. But I love sharing it. I love sharing. Oh, I was over in America at a bakery conference. You're not getting too cold now? You want that door shut? He's trying to freeze me now. No, you're right, Craig. Go back to sleep. And I was over in America quite a few years ago at a bakery conference. I'm over in America this year, going over to Las Vegas in October to a bakery conference. And I told my CEO that I was going over to the conference, and he said, what, do you expect the bakery to pay the airfare? I didn't ask that, but anyway, Anyway, because I'm going to Vancouver and Louisiana and Boston and everywhere else. But anyway, and he said, Tom, I'd like you to take 2 of our staff in October. And I thought, oh. And I said, who are you going? Anyway, the 2 are going, never been out of the country, never been on a plane as far as I know. Anyway, I seen him this week, Marty, or was it on Friday, and he told me there's 5 of them going now, 5 of them, and I was paying for them. I said, what the bloody hell? Anyway, they were over that. But going to bloody Las Vegas, I said, shit, I shouldn't have told them I was going. Anyway, but years ago I was over there to this bakery conference, love bakery conferences, and Anne from a donut shop was up on stage talking about how she had a slumber party, a sleepover for her staff. I said to my wife, we'll have a slumber party. She said, Tom, I think we'll get into trouble with the sleepover. A lot of my bakers have fantasies about flour bags. Anyway, I said, oh, we'll have a pyjama day then. I got all excited about this pyjama day, got into paper, got into radio, and about 3 days before the event, my supervisor came up and said, Tom, no one is very happy about this pyjama day. I said, what are you bloody talking about? Got into paper, got into radio. I said, fine then, why they're not happy? She come back and said, why aren't they happy? She said, none of them wear pyjamas. So I went out to Albury and I got a whole bootload of pyjamas. We didn't have a clothes shop in Beechworth because I'd knocked a hole in the wall and taken it over. We've got a few clothes shops in Beechworth today. Anyway, and I got a whole bootload, and I got a Captain Snooze outfit like them Willy Winkers, and I put one on, and I got skinny white legs, and I'm running around with this Willy Winker outfit, and they thought, the bloody bugger's mad, he's going to do this. Though I didn't go in the shop, I didn't explain it to my staff why I wanted them to come to work in their pyjamas. They just thought I was kinky. I wanted them to come to work in their pyjamas because I wanted them to get out of their comfort zone. It is so easy to go to work in your suits or in your overalls, your whites, your uniforms. You try to go to work in pyjamas. Really breaks that pattern, really gets you out of your comfort zone. And on this day, any customer that comes in our shop in their pyjamas gets a free coffee and cake. Now, you'd be surprised what people do for free coffee and cake. Now I thought this is great, all these sexy negligees and everything, and look what we got. We've got a lot of cross-dressers working for us. Now that customer got more than his money's worth. Now this next guy was adamant that he did not wear pyjamas. I tell you what, this guy got me out of my comfort zone, I can tell you. We stuck him out on the table, he got lots of people out of comfort zone. He really broke the pattern. You know, them shoes really cracked up a lot of people. You know, everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. Poor Andy's right out of his comfort zone. He said, what am I bloody got here? Poor Andy was there thinking, there goes my career, I'm finished. Everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. And talk about outside your comfort zone, I was over in Tarpo, over in New Zealand, at a bakery conference, I love bakery conference. We come down to Tarpo, about 55 bakers on the bus, mainly all Victorians, and our president of the Victorian Association, the bakers were all clear, stop the bus. Tom, you always talk about getting out of your comfort zone, we want to see this. Big sign, bungee jumping, bullshit, and they stopped the bus, and they're all ragging me, oh, you're full of rubbish, talk about getting out of your comfort zone. I'll show you buggers. So I went over to buy a ticket. Well, it costs a lot of money to try and kill yourself. And I'm coming back after buying this ticket, and my wife said, what are you doing? You'll lose your teeth. Thought she loved me, and I was worried about losing my teeth. Anyway, I got out there and they said, count to 1, 2, 3. Bullshit, I have to go, would have wet myself. That's me there. Look, it is so easy to talk the talk. But to walk the talk is much more difficult. Bloody hell, I've got to get back at my business. I've got to smile. I've got somebody coming from Canberra on Tuesday. I've got to smile. I've got to talk. Oh, pain. So easy to talk the talk. Talk about walking the talk. Somebody else built this monstrosity, gigantic, humongous bakery in Echuca, a bit over 2 hours away from Beechworth, and they couldn't make it work. And after about 4 years, they were closing the door. And over that 4 years, they rang me up a few times and asked me, would I buy it? Oh, boogie, too scary for me. Oh, we live in a land of opportunity. Well, let some other bugger have it. But anyway, we ended up buying it. Today, it's called Beechworth Bakery, Echuca. I tell you what, the best way to avoid criticism is do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. If I believe that we live in the land of opportunity, I got to walk the talk. And that was the hardest walk. And people said, Tom, you cannot duplicate what you've done in Beechworth. Well, this place will end up beating Beechworth. When we took it on, it was turning over 300,000 or 400, I forget, 300,000 or 400,000 for the year. Last year, in excess of 3 million cash over the counter. You know, when opportunity knocks, get up and answer the door. If you stand still to watch the world go by, it will, you're going to be dead a long time. get up and answer the door when opportunity. Talk about opportunity. We have this bakery in the Myer Centre, we share the wall with Bakers Delight. Anyway, the oven caught fire. The oven caught fire, nearly burnt the bloody place down. After we reopened, after a few days, the girls went out to the Toyland and bought all these bloody fireman hats, and they had fire sales, they had red hot deals. They made the best of a bad opportunity. Ever since that fire, our figures have just gone. That was about 2 years ago. I don't suggest a fire to anybody, but train them, don't blame them, train them, don't blame. Sam luckily knew how to use a fire. We had 3 fire trucks there already. The centre's been evacuated. She'd get to you out. If you ever use one of them, they put shit everywhere. Train them, don't blame. You know, don't wait until the economic storm has passed. Learn to dance in the rain. There is more opportunities out there than ever before, especially you guys. You guys who have got the hidden thing of Australia. You guys, half of the bloody country's never been to bloody South Australia. You're keeping it all to yourself. I've had many holidays here, and wow, you know, most of people have never bloody been here over in the eastern states. You ought to invite the buggers over here. You know, for years and years and years, we all used to come through the back door, and today we all come to work through that front door. You've got to keep seeing it through the customer's eyes. You know, we become shop blind, town blind, we become community blind, we become blind to the opportunities that are right at our feet. We're so busy wasting all our bloody energy looking over here, looking over there. You know, the grass always looks greener. Be bloody careful, because that's often where the sewerage comes out. But I was always looking for a softer, easier way. I don't have any softer, easier way except getting off my arse and having a go. You know, Helen Keller said worse than being blind is to see but have no vision. That vision, go beyond your own backyard and realise what a bloody product we've got here in Australia. That vision. You've got to keep looking at your business and your life with fresh eyes. You've got to, and coming to conferences gives you a big chance to go back and see your business with fresh eyes. People say, no, I can't afford to go to conferences. Well, I can't afford not to. I've got to go. So it gives me a chance to come back and look at it with fresh eyes. When they close, I don't normally show this, but they closed and announced they were closing the lunatic asylum, it was doom and gloom. You couldn't get the house away in Beechworth because it was a government town. It was an institution town, the lunatic asylum, the jail, the old people's home, the courthouse, all that, all gone now, all gone. And so we were doom and gloom. And so we had an information night at the bakery. We got Peter Kenyon in, and we put on free food and grog. We had him out in the bloody footpath. And Peter Kenyon come in and said, well, what are you going to do? Well, we wanted him to come on his white horse and save us. But anyway, we got into tourism in a big way. And we had the Celtic Festival, we had the Ned Kelly reenactment trial. This is only 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, the Drive Back in Time. Now this is a really community-minded festival. Absolutely, the bakery is one of the main sponsors. My 2 brother-in-laws run it. Very community-minded, this one. And this is only 2 weeks, it might have been 3 weeks, I'm not sure, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was incredible. Hundreds of, now this is the Harvest Festival. Now this is on the weekend. This was huge, absolutely huge. It has now gone to the Victorian government, but to Victorian tourism, hardly any community involvement, and this is on the weekend, on Saturday. I was in Alice Springs, so I wasn't there, and and the bakery was one of the major sponsors. And I see in the Qantas magazine we didn't even get a mention because we're not foodie, we're not gourmet, we're not trendy enough, but we didn't even get a bloody mention. We were one of the bloody major sponsors at the bloody place. Oh yeah, we have lots of festivals in Beechworth. We'll have any bloody festival, sweeping of the grave. We'll have any bloody festival. We got to get them there. Tim Fisher reckon drop a hanky and they'd have a festival in Beechworth. Got any bloody festival. We got to get them to Beechworth. Got to get them to Beechworth. Got to get them to Beechworth. So I come back from Sydney or Singapore or Germany with a whiz-bang bit of equipment. Always looks better on the showroom floor. And my staff had used it for a few weeks. And they did this many times, not once, and then they'd slowly stick it in the corner. Today, I get them emotionally involved in the process. I cannot introduce change with a memo or a newsletter. I have to get them emotionally involved. Talk about emotionally involved. We wanted to do our pies a whole different system, and because we were doing so many. And these are Australian designs in Sydney. And so we sent 4 of our staff to Sydney. 2 had never been to Sydney. 2 had never been on a plane. They took ownership of this. They love this machine. And we have 2 of these machines. They love them. They love them. You know, we get our staff involved in any of the decisions with our computerised, any system. We trade shows. We'll send them to trade shows. We got a few at the trade show today. Front of house and back of house. All our staff have access to all our figures. Now people find that really, really strange. that you've got to, but you know, we said, well, we've got to set the budget, you know, we roster that budget because everyone, our staff say, we haven't got enough staff. Well, they've got to look up there and they know that it's rostered to that. You know, people say, oh, Tom, you're crazy. But how'd you like to watch a football game without the goalpost? Got to give them the goalpost. Got to give them the goal. Got to do the training. Got to do the training. Oh, these are our biscuits. We used to do this machine, grind the handle like this. And I've seen a much better machine over in New Zealand. And we sent Alan. They'd never been out of the country, never been on a plane. Alan's small and he's got bigger. And they love this machine. They were pumping biscuits out yesterday, pumping them out. I have to get them emotionally involved in the process. I cannot introduce change with a memo. I have to get them to take that bloody ownership. I'm taking this photo. This is Diane. She's my production manager at Echuca. Been with me since she was 16. She's what is she now? 49. 49. She's left a couple of times when I was Seagull manager. But anyway, I'm taking this photo, and this customer said, "Hey, what about me? What about me?" I tell you what, my number one customers are my staff. If I've got happy staff, I'll have happy customers and the money will pour in. You might think bullshit. Well, it works for me. I'm as sick as a brick. If I have happy staff, I have happy customers. As long as I've got systems and procedures, and as long as they're trained and they know what's expected. You know, your job's got to be braggable. Your brand's got to be braggable. Your product's got to be braggable. You guys got one of the greatest products in Australia, but you like keeping it to yourself. Oh, I stuck this one in for Jason. Don't tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. I used to be really good at telling people what they're doing wrong. I was a real Seagull manager. I'd come in, crap on everybody, make lots of noise and then leave. I felt okay, they're destroyed. You know, I've got laser vision. I could come into my business, I'll see dirty tables, messy displays, or I'll come into the bakehouse and then I'll burn a rack of sausage rolls. You idiots! They're burnt, look at them. They can see they're burnt. They're feeling bad enough without me ripping their heads off. Don't tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. Well, I'm paying the buggers to do it right. I tell you what, does me no good whatsoever telling them what they did wrong. They did 99 things right, one thing wrong, and I want to rip their heads off. You know, I know my staff don't get out of bed in the morning and say, let's see what we can stuff up on him today. Catch them doing something right, they love it, especially even with your volunteers. And catch them doing something, you'll grow them dramatically. Catch them try it with your kids when you get home, that'll test you out. Catch them doing something right. Oh, this is last week. These two are from near Hampton Springs in New Zealand. And we have people checking out our business all the time. This was yesterday. These are two from Lord Howe Island. Talk about tourism. I had to do a talk over there. And so they come to check out our business. And this is happening all the time. Like I said, I got Peter from Canberra now. I don't see many of them, but I see this crowd. I took that photo. And so we got into training DVDs many years ago. And our staff take that ownership. And these training videos are sold all over. We get them actually in the Netherlands and people all over, and they take, well, this is a new DVD. We've got to listen to the customers. They said, Tom, you need a new DVD, because one of my old ones was talking about putting cassettes. These young people don't know what cassettes are, so I had to do a bloody updated new one. You know, one of the greatest assets that any community, that any business can have is these little buggers. They're my future. I've got to get them used to coming into my shop. August is our second quietest month. February is our quietest. So in August we have Kinder Month. Every day through August we have a Kinder group come in. Pain in the bum, doesn't do good for production, but they all come in and they make a biscuit. The biscuit's in the oven at the moment. Then we make a loaf of bread. We bake it off. They take it home. Grandma's got to have a bit. Dad's got to take some to work. And when Mum goes to buy the bread from Safeway, no, we want the Beechworth Bakery bread. It's their bakery. It's their. You know that other guy. He has 12 apostles. I have hundreds of the buggers that preach the word of the Beechworth Bakery, and some of them over 6 foot tall, think like a horse. You know, wherever the kids will go, Mum will follow. The greatest asset that any community can have, they're my bloody future. I got to get them used to coming into my, and you got to talk it up. You got to talk. Oh, this is Sanders Bakehouse. This is in Ballarat. The last year, 800 decorated biscuits in 2 hours. The kids and my staff volunteered to do this. 800. Oh, here's Keith, the guy sampling. He was sampling Christmas cake. The line-up into Sanders Bakehouse. You know, we do lots of community. Oh, this is at the Begonia Festival in Ballarat. We own that shoe. We built that. We tow it in the I crashed this thing. Oh, not good. Don't worry about that. Another story. That Begonia, that wasn't long ago. Oh, this is at Easter. No, it's not. No, it's down in Albury, they're decorating biscuit, they're decorating, oh, Santa loved them sitting on his knee, I can tell you what, he was anyway. There's James Morrison, we got that bakery there, because when James Morrison, there's a bloody camera, yeah, we got to push the, buy one at our regular price, get the next one at 10 cents, our bee stings, they reckon, your bee stings up here, leave ours for them, but we sell hundreds of the bugger, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the bugger. Somebody wrote in on my customer comments, this girl wrote in, my brother reckons your bee stings are better than sex. But he was only 7. But no, it's got to be braggable. You've got to talk it up. You've got to talk it up. Oh, this is shave for a cure. Now Joe there had asked me would I shave her hair for a cure. And it was on a weekend, on a Sunday, and I said, no, look, Joe, I haven't been home for a few weekends. I want to be home. And Annie, my manager, said, Tom, you said, do you want something? Ask for it. And she's asking you to cut her hair. I said, Annie, I've never cut anyone's hair. She said, Tom, I always do my husband. Number 2, you got it finished 2 minutes, we go. And I thought, oh, bugger that, she's supposed to be raising money, so I turned up on this day with these shears. Now, you ever try to cut hair with garden shears, and I'm pulling it out, you know, my wife's, and unbeknown to anybody, I'd asked my wife to video it and take some photos, and the manager, the supervisor, and I didn't tell anyone, but I put a squeegee sauce portion in my pocket, you see. And my wife's yelling out, not so close, not so, I'm getting a bit excited, you know, and cutting this. Anyway, next minute, I squeeze this bloody sauce portion, the blood runs down the front here. Joe went dead white, broke out in sweat, and he stopped. My wife didn't take a video. No one thought it was funny. They all looking at me. No, I burst out laughing. No one thought it was funny. But yeah, we do lots. My wife still hadn't talked about that, and Joe had a nervous breakdown after it. But anyway, well, the more I give in my community, the more I get. The more I give, and I wasn't there to give on the weekend, but my staff, they put up the hand and they did it. My wife rang me up in Alice Springs. She said, Tom, you've lost your dog. Bray leaves you for dead. He's a lot younger, and all the chickie babes loved him, you know. And, we do a lot of corporate hampers, but we do thousands of handmade Christmas cakes. Now, when we first started to do these Christmas cakes, the Dream Takers told us, Tom, you can't sell Christmas cake. Big W giveaway. Lions own the market. It's a mature market. I just didn't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to have a market for Christmas cakes. I had to get on my bike and pedal like buggery. It is not easy being in business. Never has been. Never bloody will be. All things are difficult before it's easy. My job is never going to get any easier. I just got to get better. I got to keep investing in me. You know, your income will rarely exceed your personal development. I got to get better. If I ain't getting better, I can guarantee my competition will be. You know, if I stop learning, I get bored and I get tired. I got to keep learning. I got to keep investing in me. Oh, this is Belinda, our manager at Ballarat. Roger, our sales trainer. Matt in Hill. He's pretty useless. We went to Anaheim about 2 years ago to California. I took the 3 of them over to do to the Disney Institute. The Disney Institute runs people management, customer service, and marketing, and they take you behind the scenes with Mickey, and they take you behind the scenes. And I graduated. I graduated from the Disney Institute. That's me there. Look, I have a son of mine in Perth, in Murdoch University, and he's doing a PhD, a professor he is, and look at the boring hat, look at the boring hat he's got there, look at that, hey, buddy, I shouldn't say I'm a kindergarten dropout. I graduated from the Disney Institute. Of course they did too, you know. People say, oh, my staff are my biggest asset. Well, if they are, invest in them and invest in them itself. If I sit at home and isolate and talk to myself, I'm liable to get bad advice. I know, I've tried it. If I sit at home, I got to get out there and I got to keep bloody learning. That's Peter. And Matthew, he just graduated 3 weeks ago from the Deakin. He's a media journalist. He's out there looking for a bloody job now. He's doing honours and he's, oh, bugger this. But anyway, that was only 3 weeks ago. Oh, without stress, my life would be empty. Look, there was nothing permanent except change. And you know what? Nothing changes if nothing changes. And before anything will change, I got to change my attitude, my outlook, but I ain't fully buggered out here to get their act together. It doesn't matter what's happening out there. As long as between my ears is okay, it doesn't matter. There's nothing permanent except change. Embrace it or be left behind. You cannot get new results with old habits. Change is essential for growth. Talking about change, I sold a big part of my business to a few of my staff. And I had to buy it back because they weren't hungry enough. But Marty was. Marty has 25% of the company and I have 75% of liabilities. You know, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in small business is to learn to let go and let God, let go and let somebody else have a go. Marty's young, he's hungry, he's passionate, he's in a hurry, and he doesn't want some grey-haired old bugger in his way. And I said to Marty, well, what's my job? He said, Tom, you're the founder. I says, what does that mean? He said, you're like Colonel Sanders, you're a cardboard cutout figure and you're dead. Dead! Dead! Marty was my young apprentice. One ship, one captain. One ship, one captain. They don't want my opinion, they don't ask it, they don't want it. One ship, one captain. He's the sea, he's the boss. He's the boss. You know, people said, how'd you pick Marty? He was teachable. He was teachable. He's prepared to get out of his comfort zone. You know, business is pretty simple. It's mostly about people. It's mostly about people. Business is pretty bloody simple. And leadership. And leadership. Dare to lead. Dare to lead. When you're placed in charge, take charge. Oh, geez, I'm not going to stick my neck out. I'm not going to voice my opinion. Oh, God, what will I... Dare to lead. Dare when you're... You know, it's the learners. It's the learners. They're the ones who are going to inherit the future. If you finish learning, you're buggered. You know, you've got to be bold and brave. Who wants to follow a dickhead into battle? You've got to be bold and brave. When you're placed in charge, take charge. One ship, one captain. He's a bloody captain. I keep out of his brain. Keep out. Oh, I've got to keep learning. These are our, we send our staff, there's a group down in Melbourne today, the coffee course or something, but they go down here and they'll go and buy, and then they sit there and pull it all apart. We do all this stuff. You've got to keep learning. Oh, these are our, that's Annie from Bendigo, Kylie from the Hillsville, and Belinda, they're all managers, front of house. But here they are out the back, getting out of their comfort zone, being willing to learn. You've got to be willing to learn. Your job's got to be braggable. Your brand's got to... Here's Zach. I only took this photo yesterday. You know, they've got to get out of their comfort zone to see how bloody hard it is at that coalface. It is not easy at that bloody counter. Not easy at that... Oh, there were 12 of our people. I'm just doing a diploma in business management. A diploma in business management. It's gone on for 2 years, 2 days every month. And they all get together and they talk, and it's been one of the greatest things. But I'm just there to make me look good. I'm not doing a diploma. But you know, you've got to keep learning. Ladder of achievement. 100% of did, 90% of will, 78% of get 70%. Look, I don't have a problem with this ladder of achievement. The only problem with this ladder of achievement is getting through all these buggers down here at the bottom. I can't. I won't. I could have. I should have. I would have. I could have. I should. Stop shoulding over yourself and take a couple of steps. There's no one up there. Just get through all the energy suckers and the dream takers down here at the bottom. And I tell you what, you can't get to the top by pulling other people down. Take a few people with you. Take a few people with you. Oh, here's Keith, the guy who samples in the shop. He's a retired psych nurse. He looks after me. Keith goes out 1 day a week within 100 kilometres of Beechworth to the motels and B&Bs with these coffee vouchers. He goes out to Tangbang, Malanga, Yakandana, Barnawartha, Paul Punka, Wandillagong, Chesump and Allium. Anyway, when we first started to do this, the motelier says, well, what do we do with these coffee vouchers? Well, when you get a customer in, shout them a coffee at Beechworth. Well, they're probably not going to Beechworth. Well, suggest they do. Suggest. Look, every bugger's after my dollar. Every service station, every supermarket, the Great Ocean Road, the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Handorf, every bugger's after my dollar. If I just sit on my arse and expect people to give me money, I ain't bloody silly. No, look, Craig, you better shut this door now. You're freezing the buggers. I tell you, this guy's got his jacket on, pulling it up like this. Anyway, but if I just sit on my arse, here's Keith. Here's Keith in Venice. In Venice, handing out coffee vouchers. In Venice. They're trying to chat up that blonde. They talk about owning. Keith and I were going to take this 1938 model Ford from Beechworth to the tip of Australia. 4,000 kilometres up, 4,000, but 850 kilometres of dirt, corrugations, rivers, sand, four-wheel drive only. Now we had this 1938 model Ford, no doors, no bloody seatbelts, and no support vehicles, and we start heading up. And every good Samaritan kept waving us down. Stop, stop, stop. You guys are psycho. You won't make it. You don't know what's ahead. Then other people would wave us down. Stop, stop, stop. The road gets better. They lied. They lied. You know, we made it to the tip of Cape York. You know, keep in touch with your dreams. Don't let anyone steal your day. We met so many dream takers on that trip who told us we wouldn't make it. And they nearly right a few times too. You know, winners must have two things. definite goals and burning desires. Definite goals, not bloody fuzzy goals. Definite. And you've got that fire in the belly. You've got to keep stoking that fire. You've got to keep, if you're not feeling the heat from the fire, chuck a couple of logs on. Go to a seminar. Pick up a book. Talk to somebody positive. Winners must have two things. Definite goal. Set the goals and enjoy the journey. Set the goals and enjoy the journey. It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. If it ain't fun, there's something wrong with what you're doing. Got to be fun. You know, life's too short to eat brown bananas. It's got to be fun. Talk about enjoying the journey. Keith and I are going to take these 2 bathtubs from Albury down to Goolwa in South Australia, down from Albury down to Murray River, over 2,000 kilometres. And everyone kept saying to me, Tom, you need a map. I said, I don't need a bloody map. I'm just going to follow the Murray River. I bought up in Tokemore, and that was our bathroom. We didn't have a bath. And I bought up on the Murray. I said, I'm just going to follow it. Where'd you expect me to end up in Kakadu? And anyway, the day we're heading off from Noriel Park in Albury, my wife turned up with a map. Thank God she did. We had 12 locks. The first lock we come to, really grumpy lockmaster. And I let me mate Keith asked all the time. He said, hey mate, come over here. Look, we've never been in a lock. And, oh, Mr. Grump, I tell you what, and he come over and he said, are you sure? Keith said, no, I've never been in a lock before. He said, are you sure? Keith said, I just bloody told you, we've never been in a lock. He said, I didn't think so. He said, if you tie it up there, you're going to end up in 3 metres in the air. Keith said, well, what happens when the gates open? Do we go out with a big whoosh? We did not have a bloody clue. You know, and I'd seen plenty of locks, but my brain had stopped working too, you know. We would not have made it to South Australia without a map. There was clay banks, there was mud banks, there was dead-end streams, there was rock banks. You know, you can't drift your way to success. You can't drift your way to a better business. You need a plan, you need goals, you need a map. You cannot drift your way to a better... Andy wants me to get off a little short. He's had enough. He's had enough. We're promoting Lifeline. We're promoting... He's trying to stand up so he can grow a bit taller. We were promoting Lifeline here. Shit happens, call Lifeline. And here's Lifeline here, because Beechworth Bay. We're on the front page of every paper all the way from Albury down to Gould. We didn't make it to Gould. We got up near Murray Bridge and the waves were nearly drowning us. But anyway, you know, people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Goals give me that purpose and direction. When I write down my goals, it makes a statement to me that I refuse to be ordinary. Goals hold me accountable. They give me that purpose and bloody direction. Oh, every day my bakers have got to get out of their comfort zone and come out and see where the money is. Here's the money out in the bloody shop. Bloody Jenny's had enough too. Get this mongrel, get this they're so shit scared they come in 2s and 3s. Ton of 2s. You know, it looks very different from where the customers. Talk about taking a risk. Barry here, at age 69, he asked could he do a 4-year apprenticeship. He's now 72. He's in his 3rd year. Hope he makes it. Hire for attitude, train for skill. Hire for will and train for skill. Hire people that are willing to learn. Hire people that are willing to do that little bit extra. Hire for will and train for skill. You know, some people are old at 28. Some people aren't old at 88. Don't let an old person in. Don't let it. The essence of all growth is that willingness to learn, being willing to... Productivity, nothing worthwhile is ever achieved without that collective spark of enthusiasm. These business people that check out my business, they say to me, Tom, your staff are so good, so good. What do you look for when you employ your staff? I said, long legs, big personalities. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. If your heart's in it, the sky's the limit. Get in there, boots and all, 100%. Enthusiasm. It's like measles and mumps. Highly contagious. Look, I tell you what, if you're not getting what you want out of life, check your bloody level of enthusiasm. If you're not living the life you want, check your level. That's the secret ingredient. I could go home now, but because these waves want me to get off, but anyhow, I'll go a bit faster. You're going to have to learn. And we thrive on Australia. You took 5 minutes of me time up here anyway, but anyhow, we'll thrive on go. The more I give in my community, the more I get. The more I give at home, the more I get. Maybe I should give more at home. But I got to push the brand. I got to push the brand all the time. This is the Melbourne show. I am no celebrity chef. They get me down there for a bloody... I always have to take this cup of saffron to make me look good. Oh, this is last Saturday. I was in Alice Springs. This is there. Here's Jim Fisher. This wasn't long ago at Opera in the Alps in Beechworth, and we had to drive this A model with the 3 opera singers in front of us down through these 3,000 people. Got to push that brand. Got to push that. Oh, this is a birthday not long ago. Leading the car bikes out of town. They've got to push that brand. Oh, this is only 10 days ago. This guy, he'd not long been handoff Caravan and Motor magazine, and he turned up 10 days ago. Luckily I was there, went and put a hat on, make him look good, made him younger, and they had the camera out there. I got to push that brand all the time, push that. Here's Tony Abbott, he'd come along with all his pollies, visited the bakery. I said, here's a real bike, Tony. And you got to keep peddling. You got to keep peddling. People said to me, I got to keep inviting them to Beechworth. I got to keep inviting them to Beechworth. People say, oh, Tom, I haven't got bloody time to get involved. It's not lack of time. It is lack of focus. It is lack of priority. We've all got 24 hours a day. It is not lack of time. St. Patrick's Day, kiss me, I'm Irish, green bread, green hot cross bun. Look, I don't have a problem with new ideas. I have a problem with old ones. My head is so full of bloody old ideas, no room for the new ones. Got to get rid of the old ones. Oh, this is the pie competition. We started on the footpath. We had so many bloody people, we had to take over the roadway. We didn't have a permit. The police got quite upset. But I'll do anything to get into Beechworth. If I can get into Beechworth, I've got a chance of getting $1 out of pocket. First I've got to get into Beechworth, and then I've got to get him into my door. Oh, look at this kid, he's going to be sick, the poor little bugger. These are our smell fans. They pick up the smells from the oven and blow it out into the street. And when we burn something, we've got to turn the buggers off real quick. And these people are sitting out the front thinking, geez, I'll have another one. It's the smells, it's the smiles, it's the thank yous, it's the little things. It's the little things that make the big difference. Yet we're all looking for that big, oh, this is a kids' day. Staff didn't mind this one. No one knew who they were. Look, if you're not determined to stand out, your bloody history. There's so many Me Too products, Me Too people, Me Too businesses, Me Too, Me Too, Me. If you're not determined, utterly, totally determined to get out of your comfort zone and do that little bit extra, your bloody history. There is no excitement in being average. There's no excitement. Now, I'll miss this story. It's a great story on communication, but I'm going to miss it because he's desperate. Look at this guy. Anyway, now, you want to hear the story? I've only got about 7 to go. Got 7 to, anyway, talk about anytime I got problems in my business or in my marriage, I can guarantee it is from lack of communication. That was our 10th birthday 19 years ago, still scarred from this. I was under the delusion that I communicated quite clearly to my staff that I wanted one elderly lady to cut the cake. I ended up with 4 of the buggers. They all had to get a photo in a local paper. And one of them was my mother. You know, build bridges, don't build walls. Talk about lack of communication. Keith and I was in this A model Ford down at Gapstead, Beechworth in the hills. We're down the valley, about 20 kilometres from home. Got a fuel blockage. Had to ring up my wife to come and tow us home. She comes down in Lexus 470, like glorified Land Cruiser, V8, high powerful, very soundproof car. And she said, well, what do I do? I've never towed before. I said, you just drive normal, stupid. Well, next minute she takes off and we do them 60, 80, 100. We make Keith stop. I'm hitting the brake, tooting all, making no freaking difference in this Lexus. We're not even touching the ground. We have no seatbelts, no doors. We know the first corner we're going to be on us. We're going to die. We are screaming, our heads all screaming. My son's in the car with my wife, and he turns around and he said, Dad's waving frantically. So she hits the brakes. Ah, shit. We come to a stop. I said, you stupid woman. You nearly killed us. What are you doing? She said, you told me to drive normal. My fault, always my fault. Oh, yeah, that's Keith kissing the ground. He's going to walk home, but he dirtied his pants, you know. We nearly died because I did not communicate. Anytime I got problems in my business or in my marriage, I can guarantee it is from lack of communication. There was no communication for the next 2 weeks. There was nothing for the next 2 weeks. Smile and the world smiles with you. Now, we don't get many international visitors in Beechworth, but when we do, we know that everyone smiles in the same language. You know, the most important thing you can wear is your expression. If you're happy, tell you, this guy's had enough, he said, get me out. If you're happy, tell your face. If you take a bloody wrist smile, take a wrist smile. I know it's a risk for some of you, but that's my first wife. Yeah, I wear them out. You know, your day goes away, the corny mouth goes. My first wife's that's in Adelaide. She's looking for a 5th husband. So she's getting a bit of age on her now. So she was only home the other week. But anyway, don't worry about it. Anyway, you know, if you see somebody without a smile, give them one. There's hundreds of languages but a smile speaks them all. Bloody smile. Goal setting is the strongest force in the world that you may make. When I started writing down my goals and date them, changed my life. That momentum, once you're moving in the directions of your goals, nothing can stop you. And goals are just dreams with a date. But I tell you what, they're not on paper, they're not on this planet. And I've got to tell you, goals do not matter. Goals do not matter if you're going nowhere. Go somewhere, put them on paper, get that momentum and go somewhere. Oh, I know where I'm up to, thank God. Now, I hope some of you suppliers are going to have to talk a bit fast because I'm cutting your time out. Chris here is getting, oh God, the government, must be government work. Anyway, but anyway, we opened up this bakery, nearly finished, opened up the bakery in the Yarra Valley. And we asked the Federal Minister for Small Business and Tourism at the time, the Federal Minister, Fran Bailey, would she open our bakery? The Federal Minister said, yes, Tom, I will. Me mates said, how do you get the bloody Federal Minister to open up your pissy little bakery? How much did it cost you? I said, I'd give a cup of coffee and a few cakes. They said, how'd you get her there? I said, I just asked. And that's often what we don't do. We just don't often ask. I need help. I need a hand. Our pride and our ego stops us for asking for help. Pride is tasteless, odourless, sizeless, yet we can't swallow it. You want something? Ask for it. You want something? How profound. The greatest sin is sitting on your bum and look at you. If it's to be, it's up to me. No, it's not. It's up to Andy, Jenny, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. We're all out there waiting for some other bugger to do it. If it's to be, it's up to me. No, it's not. It's up to Julie. I am responsible. I am responsible. Tomorrow's success begins today and you've only got so many tomorrows left. Don't bloody worry. What is success? I've been wrote up on magazines, on TV shows. What is success? I was brought up in poverty, mum, dad, the 5 kids, the 7 of us, all slept in this tent together here, dirt floors, no electricity, that little asbestos kitchen, dirt floors, no electricity, no bathroom when we got a bit smelly, the nuns would wash us. Good fun when we got to high school. No fantasy high school. But I was brought up in poverty. I ended up getting a big 2-storey house on the beach in the Jag and the Land Cruiser, and I ended up sticking a load of gun in my mouth. So what is success for me today? Success for me today is being a good husband and a good father. Bloody hard job too. Just love them. Just love them. Don't judge them. Don't check them out on Facebook. Just love them. Just love them. Today's success for me today is being a good grandfather. Just love them, spoil them, stir them up and hand them back. Unconditional love. Today's success for me today is having peace of mind. I used to go to work every day with a football of beer in my guts and a can of worms up here worrying about next week, next month, next year. God, talk about kangaroos in the back. But what is success for Tom O'Toole? Success for me today is being able to live the life the way I choose. That's success for me. I don't know what success is for you. I wouldn't have a bloody clue. But whatever it is, climb as high as you can dream. Climb as high as you can dream. Why not? And why not now? God almighty, we live in the greatest country. Climb as high. A lot of people say my product. Oh, that's a professional product. I've even wrote a recipe before. I've got a couple of them here to sale. A lot of people say my mate, hey, we can have the best product and the best marketing. But without good people, I am rat shit. They're my biggest asset, also my biggest cost. So to make sure they're well trained. 5% technology, 95% psychology and attitude. Like I said, you can buy coffee and cake from anywhere. Why buy from my place? Because of these buggers. They're my biggest investors. They invest their time, their energy, their imagination into the Beechworth Bakery. 5% technology, 95% psychology and attitude. Now I've got more of the buggers. Heads on them like bloody mice. You know, my future depends on well-trained, passionate, committed people. My future. You know, I get by with a little help from my friends. It's all about people. It's all about product. It's all about partnership. It's all about passion. Together, we are better. Talk about sexual harassment. That guy's grabbing on the arse there. I've got 2 more to go, that's it. People can alter their lives by altering their attitude. It's all about attitude. And action like ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, bullshit, ready, aim, fire, not ready, aim, ready, aim. All the knowledge in the world, not but you pinch your cow dung, unless you're willing to get off your bum and have a go. People can alter their lives by altering their attitude. Look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your past has been. Every one of us has a clean future. You need that action. You need that commitment. You know, all the praying, all the preaching, all the talking, all the debating just won't do it. Words are just words until we choose to live them. You need that action, you need that commitment, you need that discipline. You can starve to death by reading a cookbook. This is my last one. I do another 747, but I can see these two have had enough. Attitudes are contagious. Are yours worth catching? There's always a better way. The future's right here, you're it. The future's right here. I tell you what, the believers in this life pick up the prizes. Have a belief in your industry. Have a belief in your team. Have a belief in your product. Have a belief in yourself. The believers in this life pick up the prizes. And I believe the best is yet to come. If I didn't believe the best is yet to come, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. Look, have a nice day and a nice forever, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much.
You don't go away, Tom.